You know, I don't think we give the noble mole enough credit. Sure, they're basically blind, and despite that, they decide to live underground, but we aren't here to talk about that. We're here to honor these strange creatures for their building and tunneling prowess, and for reminding us that with enough planning, you too can make mountains out of molehills, which is a game designed by Jim DiCamillo and Pat Marino, which is published by The Op, who helped sponsor this video. Hi everybody, my name is Nick Murphy of the Brothers Murph, and we are here with BoardGameGeek.com. Now I've got some movement to plan, so let's get this game down to the table to go a little more in focus on Mountains Out of Molehills. In Mountains Out of Molehills, players will be taking on the role of moles who have gathered to take part in the annual Mountain Maker Tournament. This tournament takes place over 6 rounds where players will draft movement cards which will ultimately dictate where and how their moles move. Now it's important to make a plan since these moles don't see very well and you'd hate to bump into a rock and knock yourself silly. Once players have drafted their movement cards, they will place them in a stack in the order in which they want to use them. Once everyone has selected the order of their cards, they can no longer change or look at them. Next, players go in turn order, revealing their first movement card and carrying out its actions. Moles like to follow their nose, so if a movement card tells them to move one or more spaces forward, they will go in the direction their nose is facing. Other movement cards allow them to turn left or right or make a U-turn and may include moving as well. As moles move into new spaces, they push up the dirt above them, adding a molehill of their color to the bottom of the budding mountain. Players have to be careful because in each round, each mountain can only be so tall before it topples over. If a mountain exceeds that height, the active player chooses a direction for the mountain to topple. Starting from the bottom of the mountain, one piece is distributed for every space going in that direction until the whole mountain has fallen over or until the mountain would run off the board with any leftover pieces going to the supplies of the owners of those pieces. Players can play a rock card, moving the rock to any open space and playing the rolled rock die on top of it. If any player's mole bonks into the rock, they turn in the direction showing on the die as now they've been disoriented. Once each player has played their first movement card, players play their second card in turn order and so on. After each player has played their last movement card, it's time to score mountains. Players hope to control mountains to score points. A player controls a mountain if a molehill of their player color is on the bottom. The controlling player scores 1 point for each molehill in that mountain regardless of the colors of those molehills. After each mountain is scored, players will move on to the next round where they will again deal out movement cards to be drafted. Each molehill on the board remains, and in future rounds each mountain can be built taller, making for larger scoring opportunities and larger topples. After the end of the 6th round, players tally their score for all of the mountains they made, and the player with the highest score will win. Mountains Out of Molehills teaches us that with a little planning and maybe a well-placed rock, players can build something truly spectacular out of something as humble as a molehill. And if Mountains Out of Molehills seems like a game you'd enjoy, be sure to check out its page on BoardGameGeek.com to learn more. And until next time, I'm Nick Murphy. We've been here with Board Game Geek, and we've been going in focus on Mountains Out of Molehills. Have a great day.